Without the people, you cannot do or you cannot sell the product or services to them. So consumers plays a very important role here. What is the consumer preferences that they have got? So what are the taste and preference of the consumer? So all these are important before you select a trade area or a retail location. So if it is of any cluster in nature, so the consumer might stuck in at a one place, and the consumer might get confusions regarding what kind of product need to be buy. Hello students, welcome to yet another session in retail management. I'm Vaishnavi, Faculty of Commerce from Vidhyaashram First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. So in this today's session, we are going to study about retail operations. We'll see what is the agenda. So first is about the introduction of retail location. Next topic is about what is the factors that influences the retail location. Next, we are going to learn about what are the steps needs to be taken for choosing a right retail location. Next, we are going to learn about what is a trade area and what is trade area analysis and what are the types of trade areas we have. And we are going to study about rating plan method, and we are going to learn about site evaluation method and what is store layout and what are the different kinds of store layouts. So we'll see one by one, starting with the retail location. So a retail location is a geographical location where a retailer is going to situate a retail shop or a retail layout, that is called a retail location. So we'll see what are the factors that influences the store location. So we have two kind of factors, that is primary factors and secondary factors. Under that, first factor is about availability of raw materials. So we know that for setting up any kind of a businesses, we need 3 M's, that is money, men and material. So these three are important sources for setting up any kind of a business. So materials are very important here. Without a proper availability of a materials, you cannot do the production and you cannot become a retailer. So you need to select a retail location wherein you can easily assess the different kind of raw materials for your production processes. So material is one of the important factor. Next factor is about nearness to the market. Why this is important? Because say if you want to set up your retail location in Mysore and you need to set up your manufacturing unit nearby to the Mysore city. Why? Because it will be helpful for the retailer for transportation purpose, for availability of human resources, availability of men or availability of money related items, etc. So nearness to the market is very important so that it can avoid any kind of other expenses for a retailer. So nearness to the market is one of the important factor. Next factor is about availability of labor. So as I've told, men is also one of the important sources for setting up a business. So men is nothing but human resources. So we need to have a proper availability of human resources, whether it might be skilled laborers or unskilled laborers, or skilled people or unskilled people. So availability of the resources, that is human resources, is very important. So because without them, the retail mode of operation will be very difficult for a retailer to carry out. So availability of human resources is very important for any kind of a businesses. Next factor is about transportation facilities. So transportation facilities is also one of the important factor need to be considered here, because with the help of the transportation, you can cut down different kind of expenses that leads to losses. So transportation facilities is very important for a retailer, whether it might be air transport, road transport, railways or sea route, whatever you are going to choose, you need to select a retail location wherein it can be easily accessible through any mode of transportation. That is also one of the important factor. Next is about availability of fuel and power. We need electricity to do our daily commute. So we need some power to do the operations of a retail layout or a retail factory outlet. So that is the reason why electricity is very important, and you need to select a retail location wherein your electricity is been abundant and where you get a 24-hour supply continuously to your retail layout. So that is an important factor needs to be considered. Next is about availability of water. So food, water is also one of the important sources. As you are not doing any kind of one-man show, you need some team to work for your retail layout. So that is the reason why you need the availability of food and water for your daily operations as well as for your human resources. So availability of the basic facilities is also one of the important factor needs to be considered. Next is about the secondary factors. So under that, first is about suitability of the climate. So you need to select a retail location where it is having the all kind of climatical conditions are very good, and you can do your retail operation in a daily basis. So you cannot control the natural calamities and you cannot control any climatic conditions. So you need to select those kind of locations wherein it is very feasible in case of the climatic conditions as well. So this is a secondary factor. Next is about government policies. So government policies is also one of the important one. So you might have read that like any retailer that have come to any kind of a state, and if they have not been allotted a land or not been allotted any subsidies for the operation of their factory outlet, so they might have shifted to other states. So here why? Because this allotment of land and subsidies or any kind of legal aspects is being carried on by the government itself. So government also plays a very important role in selecting a retail layout or a factory layout, because based on the government policies itself, a retailer needs to regulate the company policies and etc. So that is why government is also one of the important factor needs to be considered here. Next is about availability of the finance. So one more important sources for running a business is what? Money, finance. Finance is also one of the important factor. So you need to select a retail location where you can easily transact your financial related transactions in nearby the financial institutions, and you can also get any kind of loans or advances from the bank itself. So you need to select such a retail location which are nearby to those kind of financial institutions. Next factor is about competition between the states. So competition is also one of the important factor because of the market share or a goodwill that what the other retailer have acquired in a particular market. So you need to sustain in the market for a period of time. So competition is also one of the important factor needs to be considered. Say if your competitor retailer have gained huge market share and you are the new entry into the market, and you need to do some different kind of brand strategies and you need to do different kind of marketing strategies in order to penetrate into a market. So that is the reason why analysis of the competitor is important. Next factor is about availability of the facilities. All kind of facilities like transportation facilities, human facilities, that is human resources facilities, and financial facilities, availability of food, water, electricity, power, etc. All these are also important factors that you need to consider for selecting a proper retail location. Next, last factor is about the disposal of waste. So nowadays, government policies are being much more regulatory towards disposing of the wastage. So as you might have heard that many companies are disposing the waste to nearby water bodies or into nearby pits. So that has been avoided because those have been polluting the water bodies, as well as the soil pollution is also there and air pollution is also there. So that is the reason why the government have done some regulations so that to protect the environment. So you need to consider what is the different kind of disposal of waste regulations have been adopted in your retail outlet or in your factory outlet. So that also needs to be considered here. So these are the important primary factors and secondary factors need to be considered for selecting a proper retail location. Next, we are going to learn about what are the steps that are need to be taken care for selecting a right retail location. Under that, first step is about analysis the market in terms of industry, product and competitors. So as I have told in the previous slide, competition is also one of the important threat for every kind of a retail operator. So analysis of the competitor, analysis of the market and analysis of the product or the service is important here. So you need to provide those kind of product or services wherein the consumer is in need to fulfill their wants. So you need to do a proper research on what kind of product or services you are providing and who are the competitors that are there in the current market. And you also need to analyze where you are going to set up the retail location and what is the market area and what is the market trend in that particular retail location. So these are the three important factors needs to be analyzed in first step. Next step is about understanding the demographics. So people or the consumers are important source for your retail location or your retail operations, because without the people you cannot do or you cannot sell the product or services to them. So consumers plays a very important role here, and understanding the consumers is also one of the important here, because you need to analyze what is the age demographic, what is the gender demographic, what is the buying behavior patterns of the people in that retail location, what is the taste and preferences of the people who are there in the retail location. All these are important to analyze and do a proper consumer behavior research so that you can launch the product in the desired retail location. Next is about step 3 is about evaluate the market potential. So market potential is also one of the important factor, because you need to analyze whether your product can be sustained in the particular market or not. So what is the capability of the market? So what kind of competitors are there? So these are important to analyze it, potentiality of your product, whether that can be sustained in the current market or not. This is important here. Next step is to finalize the retail location based on all the previous steps what you have analyzed or research, and starting your retail location or starting your retail operation. So these are the important 5 steps needs to be taken care for setting up a correct retail location. Next is about trade area. So trade area is about, it's a geographical area where you are going to set up a retail location. And say for example, so if you are setting up a retail location in Mysore. So in Mysore, where you are setting up, say for example, you are setting up in JAYALAKSHMIPURAM. So this is your primary retail location, and in and around the JAYALAKSHMIPURAM and overall Mysore city becomes your trade area analysis. So if you are going to analyze all these markets in and around JAYALAKSHMIPURAM and overall Mysore city, so this procedure will be called as the trade area analysis. So we'll see trade area is where the retailer attracts the consumers. It is also called as a catchment area. It is a location where you have set up and you're going to attract your consumers regarding your product or services. So as there are 3 types of trade areas. So first is primary area. So wherein your retail location has been situated, exact location of your retail layout, that is called the trade area, primary trade area. Next is about the secondary area, that means your in and around premises around your retail location, that is called the secondary trade area. And last is about the fringement area, so that is the overall market of the retail layout or a retail location where you have started, that will be called as a fringement area. So these are 3 types. So primary trade area, secondary trade area and fringement trade area. So these are 3 important trade areas we have got. So next is about different types of the trade areas. Under that we have solitary sites. So solitary sites are those kind of sites wherein the small stores that are situated away from other kind of retailers. Best example is your nearby retail locations like your kirana stores or small mom and pop-up stores or small tea stalls. So these are small kind of solitary sites which are been situated away from other big retailers. So they are the sole proprietary businesses and they carry out their businesses on their own, and there is only single owner for these kind of site businesses. So the example I have given you, that is the kirana stores or small tea stalls, etc. Next kind of trade area is about unplanned shopping areas. So these are the shopping areas that has been situated in a prime location of any city or any town or any premises, and it is having the long history of carrying out businesses for a longer period of time. So those kind of areas will be called as the unplanned shopping areas. So in Mysore we have the famous shopping areas. We have got Saijirav Road, we have got KD Road, we have got Devaraj Road. So these are the areas will be called as the unplanned shopping areas. Next kind of retail trade area is about planned shopping areas. So the name itself, you can tell it has been planned properly, which is having the proper plan, engineer, structure, and a proper theme is been allotted to the trade area. And there are different kind of floors in a trade area, and there is a equal square foot plan for each retail location or each retail layout. So those kind of areas will be called as the planned shopping areas. So best example is malls, your hyper malls or your supermarkets or any kind of a malls which are having the different floors, and each floor is having planned and proper theme is been allotted to it. So these kind of areas will be called as the planned shopping area. So these are the three important trade areas we have got. Next is about analysis. As I have told, trade area analysis is about analyzing all the factors that influences the retail location. So we have seen the primary factors and secondary factors. So all these are important to analyze a trade area. So we'll see the trade area analysis is a report used by the professionals such as retailers, property developers, and community planners to map out the business activity and consumer behavior in a specific location. So to map out the business activities, what kind of business activities need to be launched, or what is the behavioral patterns of a consumer, what is the taste and preferences, what is the needs and wants of a consumer. All these are being analyzed for a particular retail or a particular location will be called as a trade area analysis. So these are the questions needs to be researched when you are going to select a particular trade area. So under that first question, what kind of businesses are already active in that area? When you're going to start any kind of a retail operation in any layout, so you need to first analyze what kind of businesses are already there or already started in the retail location. So what is your chances of sustainability in that particular retail market area? So that is the first one you need to analyze. Next is about, is the market saturated or are there any consumer gaps waiting to be filled? So is the market saturated in the sense whether you're having the highest competition in the particular trade area, or is there any kind of availability of the services that need to be provided by the retailer to the consumer? These things needs to be analyzed before starting a retail location. Next is about how much money do people in the relevant trade area have to spend and what are their shopping preferences. So the one of the important factor is analyzing the consumer behavior. In cut short, we can tell that analyzing the consumer behavior is what you need to do when you are going to start with the retail location. What kind of people are there? What is their income capabilities? What is their purchasing power capabilities? So what is the consumer preferences that they have got? So what are the taste and preference of the consumer? So all these are important before you select a trade area or a retail location. Next is about what kind of competition will a planned venture is like to be. Competition is what kind of markets are there, whether there is a monopoly market, whether there is an oligopoly market, that need to be analyzed. So before starting a retail location. So monopoly market, you know, wherein only single service provider is there in a particular market, that will be called as a monopoly market. Oligopoly market is what? A similar kind of services or retailers are being providing the same kind of services for a period of time. That kind of a market will be called as a oligopoly market. So you need to analyze what are the different kind of markets are there, what are the different kind of competition patterns are there in a retail location. Next question is about which locations are easily accessible and discoverable by people about going their daily routines. So this is an important question, needs to be analyzed here, because you cannot start a retail location where the other people are being in a kind of a remote areas. So you need to start a retail location where there is a highest traffic, where people are going through and from a particular location. So what is a daily commute? What is a daily routes? So you need to set up where there is a busy in nature, where the people are being going and coming in a particular way or in a particular route. So that is an important one. So because if you are going to start a retail location in such a busy area, they are going to notice your services or they are going to notice your product in a particular location. So that is the reason why you need to analyze this one also. So these are the important questions needs to be analyzed here. Next is about rating plan method. So rating plan method is just the name itself, you can tell you are going to give rate to the different kind of locations what you have selected. Okay, so it is about like how we are going to give the a percentage of rating to each location. Say for example, we have mapped out 3 kind of locations, that is Mysore or Mandya and Bangalore. So now you are going to give the rating to each locations based on the availability of the factors. So there are different kind of factors we have got, that is human resource factors, money factors, raw material factors, power factors, government policies. All these are important factors needs to be considered here. So you are going to select those kind of factors that plays a very prominent role for your retail operation, and you are going to give the rating to these 3 locations. For Mysore, how many rate you are going to give? So out of 5, how much rating you are going to give? So, and for Mandya, how much rating you are going to give? For Bangalore, how much rating you are going to give? So based on this, you need to analyze it, give the rating for each location, and the location which have got the highest ranking, so you are going to select that particular retail location as your retail layout operations. So that is called a retail planning method. So a location strategy is a plan for obtaining the optimum location for a company by identifying company needs and objectives and searching for location with offerings that are compatible with the needs and objectives. So based on the compatibility and based on the feasibility of the company's objectives and policies, so you are going to give the ratings to each location, and you are going to select that particular location which are being compatible to your business policies and regulations. This is about the retail planning method. So next is about site plan evaluation method. So a retail site location is not simply a question of what real estate is available. It is an analytical challenge that requires an understanding of the customer and market potential for a retailer at a location. So the overall site planning or overall a site evaluation is important here, because you're not just analyzing just only one location where your retail layout or retail outlet is being situated. You are also going to analyze your overall site of the retail location. So that is an important here. Why? Because the understanding of the customer and the market potential is important here. So understanding the behaviors of a customer and what is the market potentiality, what is the percentage of the product is being able to sustain in the market or not. This market potentiality is important to start a retail location or to start a retail operation. So that is the reason why site evaluation plan method is very important here. So choosing a location in retail is strategic decision which is difficult to return. So enterprise have to be sensitive while choosing the location, especially features like population, economic and competition difficulties must be considered. So as I have told, demographics is also important, and economic conditions is also important, and competition analysis is also important for a retailer to set up a proper retail layout or a retail location. So all these needs to be considered before you are going to select a retail location. So involvement of all these factors will be called as the site plan evaluation. So next is about what the factors needs to be considered here for site planning evaluation method. So first is about size and characteristics of the population. So what is the size? How many number of people are there? So whether they are in lakhs or whether they are in millions, you need to understand that. What is the characteristics of a population? So what kind of people are there? What is the income levels of the people are there? What is the age demographics? What is the gender demographics? What kind of people are there? What is their purchasing power? All these important to start with a retail location. Next is about the level of the competition. So that means whether there is an easy level of competition, medium level of competition or high level of competition. This is important to analyze. Because of the competition, sustainability is also very important. If there is a higher competition, you need to have a proper rigid marketing strategies in order to penetrate into a market. So that is the reason why you need to analyze what is the level of the competition, whether it is easy, medium or higher. So next is about accessibility of the transportation. So as I have told about, the transportation is very important. Different modes of transportation is also important here, because based on the easy transportation, raw materials can also be situated into your retail location, and that can also be returned back to your warehouses as well. So that is the reason why transportation facility is also important factor needs to be considered. Next is about availability of the parking. So availability of parking is also important, because people or the consumers might not show interest if there is a proper availability of parking facilities are not there. So and they might be dissatisfied because of the non-availability of the parking facilities. So that is also one of the important one. That is the reason why many retailers, they have started to give the services like valet parking for the consumers that they are going to visit into their retail location. So availability of parking is also important factor, needs to be considered. So these are the factors needs to be considered for proper site evaluation. Next, about store layout. So store layout, it's about like a well planned and design of your store layout, depending upon what kind of products you are going to give to your services, or what kind of services you are going to give to the people. That is called store layout. So a well planned retail store layout allows a retailer to maximize the sales for each square foot of the allocated selling space within the store. So once the retailer has set up a retail location, and once the consumer enters into your retail location, the location or the layout should be in such a way that it is of a free easy flow and is not kind of a cluster in nature. So if it is of any cluster in nature, so the consumer might stuck in at a one place, and the consumer might get confusions regarding what kind of product need to be buy, and that leads to the dissatisfaction of the consumer. So that is the reason why the proper retail layout need to be planned well in advance to attract the consumers. So we'll see what the different kind of store layouts we have got. So first is about state plan method. So the state plan floor method makes optimum use of the walls and utilizes space most judiciously. So it's a name itself, we can tell it is a straight plan method. Say for example, if you go to the groceries, so into the groceries, if you enter into that grocery store, so the walls of the groceries are being optimally utilized, so that the center part of the layout has been free, and the consumer can see to their left and right what kind of goods are there and what kind of products are there, and he can easily pick the kind of a goods. So such kind of layout will be called as the straight plan method. So examples are your grocery stores. So the straight plan floor creates a space within the retail store for the customers to move and shop freely. So these are the basic kind of a straight plan method, where it has been designed so that the consumers can enter into the store layout and they can move freely, and they can pick what kind of products they need for their daily routine. So that is an important plan called straight plan method. So example I have told, that is the grocery stores. Next is about diagonal plan method. So according to diagonal floor plan method, the shelves or racks are kept diagonal to each other for the owner or the store manager to have a watch on the customers. So they are being placed in a diagonally in the store layout. So diagonally they are being placed. So completely different to the grocery stores. So in grocery stores, the racks are being attached to the walls, whereas in case of these diagonals, so racks are being placed in a diagonal way, and the retailer or the owner of the store location can watch the movement of the consumers, and they can watch and they can avoid any kind of theft inside the retail location. So a diagonal plan floor plan works well in the stores where customers have the liberty to walk and pick up the merchandise on their own. So these kind of diagonal plans you can see in IKEA store. So there where it's a very large store, and you can also give an example of Decathlon also. So if there's a very large store, and people will get into the market and into the market area very freely, and they can walk and they can pick whatever the products they can choose. So during these kind of cases, the proper surveillance on the consumers has been difficult. So that is why diagonally the racks are being placed. So this kind of plan will be called as a diagonal plan. Next, about a curved plan. So this is also called as an angular floor plan. The fixtures and walls are given a curved look to give the style of the stores. So the total overall layout that has been started, where the fixtures or the racks are the overall interiors of the particular layout is been in a kind of a angular shape. So it gives a kind of a style, or it gives this kind of a vibe inside the store location. So an angular floor plan gives a major sophisticated and looks to the store. So such layouts are often seen in high-end stores. So they are been always seen in premium kind of a stores, where say for example, if you visit the Zara stores or if you visit the H&M stores, so there those kind of stores will be having the the curved plan method. So next is about the varied plan method. So in this plan, attention is drawn to special focus areas as well as having a storage areas that line the wall. This is the best suited for footwear and jewelry retail stores. So varied plan, it is about like where a proper store layout has been situated, where it is having a specialty stores where it is having a focal points inside the layout. So say for example, if you visit the jewelry stores, so wherein it's a kind of a store where a proper jewelry is being placed and it is having a focal point, center point inside the layout, and people will be looking into the jewelries. So and different kind of jewelries are there, and different kind of designs are situated in the retail layout. So that is the varied plan. Next is about the geometric plan. So the racks and fixtures are given in a geometric shape in such a floor plan. So different kind of geometric shapes are being given here. So like square kind of shapes, rectangle kind of shapes, or circle kind of shapes of racks are being installed inside the retail location. Geometric floor plan gives a trendy and unique look to the store. It uses racks and retail floor fixtures to create a geometric floor plan and circular movement. So the racks are being given in a kind of a geometric shapes, and they are being placed inside the retail layout. That gives a kind of a stylish look inside the retail location. Next, about the mixed plan. The mixed floor plan takes into the consideration an angular plan, diagonal plan and state layout to give rise to the most functional store layout. So this kind of a mixed varied plan method is all about like where all the kind of the layout is being included here. That is state floor plan method, diagonal plan method and angular floor plan method. So all these three kind of layout has been mixed inside a single layout, will be called as a mixed plan. So in the coming session, so you are going to learn about the visual merchandise, what is visual merchandise and why it is important and how it attracts the consumers inside a retail location. Next, you're going to learn about what is retail store design. Next, you're going to learn about what is space planning and what is inventory management, what are the techniques the retailers is going to use for inventories, and merchandise planning and category management is also the important topics that you need to understand in retail management. So these are the important sessions that you need to attend, and you can learn about the operations of a retail location. So I'll meet you in the next session. Thank you so much.